Ducati are already preparing to replace Marc Marquez, and he hasn't even decided his future yet. So what does it mean when the most powerful team in MotoGP stops waiting for their champion to choose and starts building a world without him? And what does it say about where this sport is right now that the most important decision in the paddock belongs to Ducati, not Marquez? Marquez has not signed a contract for 2027. His shoulder, described as critical by Marquez himself at the Brazilian Grand Prix, has limited him through every round of 2026. No podium in 3 Grand Prix, 5th in the championship. "It's my biggest limitation," he said at the Buriram test. "When you are injured, you cannot make any decisions and sign any contracts." The paddock is watching and waiting. Ducati are not. They are already running 2 timelines, one with Marquez, one without him. That is not loyalty under pressure. That is contingency planning. This is why the most dominant team in MotoGP history did not get there by letting someone else's decision shape their future. The difference between those two things is everything, even when the official position pretends they are the same. Publicly, Ducati want Marquez. Structurally, they are preparing for the alternative. And I don't think anyone inside Ducati is pretending that those two realities are not both true. At the same time, the system built to support Marquez is already built to replace him. We know for a fact that Fermin Aldeguer is already inside the system at Gresini. Young, aggressive, built for the next era. Fabio Di Giannantonio is already there too. Not perfect replacements, but ready. That's the point. Ducati don't need to search the market or make an emergency call. They already have options inside their own structure. Teams don't build that kind of depth by accident. They build it when the risk of needing it becomes real enough to plan around. The moment Ducati had 2 credible internal options for the seat next to Pedro Acosta, the question shifted permanently. Not, what happens if Marquez retires? But, how ready are we if he does? Ducati say they want to keep Marquez. Their actions say they're ready to lose him. Those are not the same thing, but the story doesn't end there. Because Marquez knows exactly what his side of this looks like. He wants 1+1, the ability to walk away cleanly in 2028 if the body or the bike doesn't deliver. Ducati want 2 years, the security of not being caught mid-cycle when rivals have already locked down every top rider on the market. We've seen this standoff before in MotoGP. The manufacturer wants certainty. The rider wants control. The gap between those two positions is where careers quietly start to end. Let's not forget that Marquez chose Ducati's 2024 aerodynamic package for 2026 specifically because it is less demanding on his shoulder. That is not the decision of a rider at full capacity. That is the decision of a rider managing something he cannot yet fully control. And more importantly, the results confirm it. No podiums in 3 Grand Prix weekends. A body language the paddock can read as clearly as the lap times. Barros was direct. He won't be 100% for at least a year, no matter how much. Physiotherapy he does. The shoulder preventing Marquez from signing a contract is the same shoulder he will be racing on if he does. I don't think that situation resolves cleanly for either side. And I highly doubt Ducati believe the contract standoff ends without a cost. To the relationship, to the timeline, or to both. Bove named the real pressure. His retirement is getting closer and closer, and each year brings him 1 less year to win another title. That is not analysis. That is a countdown. How do you negotiate a 2-year commitment with a rider who is already counting the years he has left? Here's the part nobody wants to say directly. Melandri said it at the Brazilian Grand Prix, and the paddock heard it but didn't fully land on it. If he wins the World Championship, he will stop at the end of the year. He would have won 1 more than Rossi. If he's not at 100%, he finds Acosta next door. He doesn't want to risk losing to a teammate. Read that again. Not if he loses, if he wins. The most likely moment for Marquez's departure is the one where he achieves everything still left to achieve. 8 titles, 1 more than Rossi. The record that has defined his entire career since the age of 20. And then Acosta arrives in the same garage, 12 years younger, already called the benchmark of the next generation. already the rider the entire paddock is building narratives around. Marquez has never been interested in being the second best rider on any team. That is not how he is built. And I don't think Ducati believe that dynamic resolves quietly. I don't think Marquez does either. And more importantly, I don't think either of them has figured out what to do about it yet. That is the real problem sitting inside this story. Not the contract, not the shoulder. The question of what Marquez becomes when he can no longer be certain he is the best. There are two possible scenarios from here, and both of them force Ducati into the same position. The first is that the shoulder recovers, the results follow, and Marquez wins his 8th title. He signs the 1+1, races 2027 alongside Acosta, and MotoGP gets the rivalry it has been building toward for 2 years. Marquez has returned from injuries that should have ended careers before. His competitive instinct has driven recoveries no prognosis could have predicted. I don't think that version is gone. Not yet. But I highly doubt it resolves cleanly, because even then, Ducati are managing a rider who structured his contract precisely to be able to leave. That is not loyalty, that is leverage, and both sides know it. Acosta's arrival adds a pressure entirely separate from the physical one. Barros named it directly. Acosta's move to Ducati could make Marquez question whether it is worth continuing, even if he wins his 8th title. Not a rider who has been beaten, a rider who has won everything, and then has to decide what comes next with a 17-year-old shadow in the same garage. On the other hand, the shoulder doesn't recover, the regulations don't deliver, and Marquez faces the choice Melandri named: fight Acosta at diminished capacity, or walk away having equalled Rossi. At the end of the day, Ducati's real exposure is not whether Marquez retires. It is whether they can close this season with certainty about what comes next. And right now, they cannot. The contract is unsigned, the shoulder is unresolved, the Acosta dynamic is incoming, and the clock on all three is moving at the same time. Aldeguer and Di Giannantonio exist to fill exactly that gap, the space between Marquez deciding and Ducati needing to act. That gap is where this story actually lives. Ducati are already operating inside it, quietly, deliberately, without making it the official story, not waiting for it to open, already there. Ducati are ready for a future without Marquez. The only question left, and it is the most important one in MotoGP right now, is whether Marquez is ready for it too. Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.